presentation on VR in the productive aging population 65 plus. This short video is just an example of how VR can be used to create meaningful and engaging experiences for older adults living with dementia.
A new virtual reality program is helping seniors with dementia stay active by taking them somewhere else entirely. Researchers at Wilfrid Laurier University are turning exercise into an experience, one that's as fun as it is therapeutic. CTV's Spencer Turcott explains.
I'm reading my instructions.
It may look like a video game, but for some seniors living with dementia, it's a chance to reconnect. Inside the Adult Recreation Therapy Center in Brantford, 84-year-old Donna Nowacki slips on a virtual reality headset, and suddenly she's no longer in the room. She's on the water.
Tricky, he moves. He takes turns very quickly.
Wilfrid Laurier University researchers watch along as her experience plays out in real time on a nearby TV. The game is called Seize the Day, and unlike other VR games, it's designed specifically to get older adults moving while sparking memories and engagement.
Participants can be engaged doing certain activities that we know they miss. We know they like doing. We know that they have been there before.
With movements like rowing, fishing, reaching, users build strength and coordination. But for those with dementia, the benefits go deeper. The immersive scenes are designed to feel familiar, calming, even nostalgic.
We have a cottage on Lake Erie, and so it did remind me of some of the lake activities that we did there.
We're doing it in a way that is therapeutically correct, as opposed to something that will potentially generate an injury.
Each motion is carefully designed alongside therapists, gradually increasing intensity without overwhelming the user. And there's a playful side too.
The one I caught 12 fish once. Yeah, 12 fish.
The game encourages users to beat their own score, turning therapy into something they actually want to do. For researchers, that motivation is key. Traditional rehab can feel repetitive, but this approach keeps people coming back.
I noticed change in self-confidence.
But the goal is much bigger than this room.
I'm collaborating with Sick Kids Hospital in a very
This population can utilize virtual reality and benefit from it physically, cognitively, and psychosocially. Physically, improving their balance and postural control, encouraging regular movement and exercise, increasing their upper extremity mobility through movements, and supporting fall prevention. Cognitively, improving attention and concentration. It can challenge the user's memory and problem-solving skills through the gaming, and promotes cognitive engagement through the interactive tasks. Psychosocially, may increase the user's motivation and enjoyment of the activity, and promote participation in leisure activities depending on the game. OT-specific clinical application of virtual reality is that it's an evidence-based intervention that can address physical, cognitive, and psychosocial skills and many more in the productive aging population of adults 65 plus. Activities through the VR gaming can be individualized to match that specific client's goals, their current abilities, their current interests, and daily occupations. VR for this population can be used to improve balance and coordination, endurance and upper extremity function, visual scanning and attention, their memory and problem solving through the games, and also their reaction timing. VR can provide a safe and engaging environment for that repetition and task-specific practice, and for the user may increase their motivation, their participation in therapy, their overall confidence, and quality of life. Although VR does have many benefits, there are also several barriers and limitations to consider, especially when working with older adults. And the first is technology acceptance and learning. So some older individuals may be hesitant to use technology, and also with older age often comes lower digital literacy, along with various age-related impairments, whether it be sensory, cognitive, or physical changes, can make VR more difficult to learn and navigate. Safety concerns are also another barrier, as older adults may be at increased risk for falls, dizziness, and cyber sickness during VR use. User confidence is another barrier, as with age, there's often limited confidence when it comes to using technology and more complex interfaces, which may reduce engagement and willingness to participate. And also, cost and accessibility is a barrier, as the cost of equipment and software can make the implementation of VR challenging in some settings, limiting access despite its potential benefits.
Some assessments you should do prior to using virtual reality with your clients include assessing safety awareness and visual perceptual skills. So with safety awareness, you want to assess the ability to use the equipment, understanding of directions, awareness of surroundings, and that they contain the cognitive capacity to take part in VR. With visual perceptual, you want to assess binocular visual capacity, which means it's important that patients have the use of both eyes for vision to remain safe and take part in VR. No visual impairment conditions, which includes with the aging population, it's important that the patient has visual capacity to participate, and conditions will be evaluated prior to using VR to determine safety, as well as assessing depth perception and peripheral vision. Some additional assessments to complete before using virtual reality with your client include goals and patient tolerance. With goals, you want to determine how VR would help the patient reach your goals, assess how it could fit into a treatment session and what factors would be worked on, and ensure this is a safe treatment intervention to use and that it would be applicable to the goals that they have. For patient tolerance, you want to be aware of motion sickness, dizziness, disorientation, spatial awareness, and neurological conditions. If a patient can be a risk for further injury by participating in VR, then it may be best to avoid using it or look at other options of assistive technology for treatment.
Some OT-specific assessments that we would want to observe during the user's engagement in virtual reality would include physical, cognitive, and visual, perceptual, and many more other abilities. Physically being their dynamic and their standing balance, whether they're interacting sitting down or standing up, within their base of support or outside of, their postural control, weight shifting as they're interacting, their functional reach, reaction timing, and endurance with the activity. Cognitively, we would want to assess if they have that sustained attention with the game, visual scanning, their problem solving throughout the game, sequencing their tasks, and also their safety awareness while interacting. Visual perceptual, hand-eye coordination is important to assess, and also spatial awareness.
When using virtual reality as an intervention, VR can be used as an add-on to therapy interventions, or it can be used as a foundation of therapy interventions. VR can be used for neurological, orthopedic, cognitive, sensory, and mental health conditions, as well as others. Balance training for people who have had a stroke, auditory feedback, and visual cues for body movement can be incorporated using VR. And these can be very beneficial to the older populations, especially 65 and older, as these are all experiences that many of them deal with, and VR may be beneficial for them to meet their goals. Some additional ways that virtual reality can be used include fall prevention, which includes working on postural stability, strengthening, ground sensing, proprioceptive and vestibular sensory training, as well as repetition, which includes task-oriented and fun activities, which are needed to help make neuromotor changes that will enhance the patient's performance. And occupational therapy helps clients with real-life activities and problems. So by using virtual reality to simulate activities and improve function, it can help add meaning into occupations.
These are the different VR and V games that can target balance, upper extremity movement, and cognitive skills. For example, mini golf, bowling, and Beat Saber all improve coordination and mobility, while games like Wander and Puzzling Places support memory and problem solving in an engaging way for older adults. Safety is essential when using VR and V systems. This includes clearing the play area, removing trip hazards, ensuring all equipment fits properly, and providing seated when needed. These adaptations help reduce fall risk and promote safe participation when using VR or Wii with older adults. Engagement can be improved by tailoring activities to the client's needs. Demonstrating the technology first, using familiar activities, connecting games to hobbies, shortening the sessions, and adapting for sensory or balance challenges can all increase participation and success when using VR.
When viewed through the OTPF, VR can be used to address many aspects of OT practice while promoting occupational performance, independence, and quality of life for older adults. So looking at the occupations domain, VR can support independence in ADLs and IADLs through task-specific practice and functional simulations. An example of this is the top picture, which is simulating going grocery shopping. VR can also help promote participation in leisure and social activities. And the bottom picture shows an example of like a virtual social interaction. As far as the client factors domain, practice of movement functions such as postural control, coordination, and crossing midline can be done through various programs. For example, like the Beat Saber one that we tried in class. Many programs can also support mental functions, including attention, memory, and executive functioning. For environment and context, VR provides a safe, controlled environment for practicing meaningful activities, and it allows simulation of real-world settings that may otherwise be inaccessible, and it can also help reduce barriers to participation. For example, think someone in a rural area who is not able to go into the clinic often may be able to use a VR headset at home to engage in some form of therapy more often than they would be able to when going to the clinic. Continuing on through the domains, the next is performance skills, and different VR programs can enhance motor skills needed for daily activities. Think things like reaching, bending, weight shifting. The first thing that came to my mind was the tennis game on the VR set that we were able to use in class. It can also enhance process skills from problem solving, sequencing to attention, and has the potential to improve social interaction skills through collaborative VR activities. Like the bottom right picture, they're doing this in more of a group setting. And then the next domain is performance patterns, and VR can support development and maintenance of healthy exercise and wellness routines, and various VR applications can reinforce and provide opportunities to practice various healthy habits, routines, and roles related to productive aging.